Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And energetically, I know some of this is just continued infiltration because, of course, which I've said multiple times, we really don't care what the dark ones want, which is a step towards ignoring them. But they want to keep pushing their own agenda, which is what they will do, and that's fine. But the more we use discernment, it will basically be negligible and unimportant. But as we are, because there's another argument that some people are claiming that some light workers are just bypassing or ignoring. And to be clear, you are not stating that light workers should not be healing. You're not stating that light workers should not be helping, assisting, or supporting, or loving, or shining their light. But you're stating that energetically, it is important to understand what your focus and how your energy affects the reality. Is that correct?
Yes. With our intentions, we can energetically usher someone completely across the bridge into the fifth dimension. The light workers, they have enough consciousness in them to complete this task. The only issue is distraction. So you're absolutely right. We utilize all of our powers and abilities to help heal, empower, and strengthen the collective. But our attention, if our attention is halfway on healing the collective and halfway on defeating the dark ones, you see, the intention here is to defeat the dark ones. That's where we messed up.
Yep. Yes.
We're not here to defeat anything. We are here to understand it, to see it, to learn from it, and then to turn our backs to it and continue walking. And there's no bypass when you are talking about facing the dark. You see, you face it first, but like I said earlier, we've already faced it. We've heard stories about people getting killed and raped and eaten and everything that you can imagine. So when you hear a thing, it's done. If you choose to experience it for yourself, then you just choose to experience it for yourself. But the fact that we've heard about these things is a sign that humanity has experienced it. So we can't bypass even if we wanted to.
Right. Yes, yes.
Because it already happened. And it is happening. So this is the reason why we can't focus on them. Because it's already happening. More focus brings more of it. So with confidence and knowing that you've been through a negative experience or 2 or 3 or 20.
Right.
The fact that you went through that, it totally shows us that you're ready to be 100% in the light. And you're ready to guide based on the light. So our job is to ignore because we've done it. So you can ignore them now. You can literally ignore them. Yes. And that won't bring negative karma to you. That won't pull you back steps. It's not you spiritually bypassing or no. We've already done it. The new children that are coming in, they are not here to experience that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, another way to look at it as well, because when we're ignoring, we're just withdrawing our energy that has
Yes,
been
yes,
feeding these beings. Like we have
yes.
been the ones feeding them. So if we stop feeding them,
Thank you.
they will no longer exist or return to source for their own
Yes,
healing.
yes. The ignoring word I'm using is,
Mm-hmm.
this is how Kevone talks.
Yeah.
He likes to use very simple words, very
Mm-hmm.
simple. So yes, you said it 100% correctly. We're
Yes.
not, you're no longer feeding them. When we ignore them, we're no longer feeding them. And you know what happens when you're no longer being fed. You shrivel up and you die, or you transmute and become light. You see? So not only are we pulling our energy away from them, we're also giving them a chance to advance into the light.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Because it's all energy. We all
Yes.
came from energy. We all came from the light. So restoring to the light, from my understanding, is the like ultimate unconditional love, helping them to remember their connection as well.
Yes. And the only unfortunate thing about it is that, well, it's not even unfortunate, it's just the way that they are. Because they are dark beings, they have to learn from the dark. Meaning, if you shine too much light on them, it's going to burn their system, and they're going to just, it's going to affect them in a way that you won't, you won't get the results that you set out to get. So when we stop feeding them and we turn our backs to them, it pushes them back into the dark. The dark has a twofold nature. The dark, one, it's the place of creation, but also it's a place of depressed consciousness, so that you can single out your issues. So these dark ones, they need to be depressed, and they need to be depressed enough to see their ways. Once they're depressed enough to see their ways, then what they'll do is they'll cry out to source. When they cry out to source, they cry out for the light, that's when the transmutation happens for them.
Mhm. Which I think many of us have actually experienced that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Right.
Okay, definitely came on. He he cried out,
Uh-huh.
and he cried out from the demon realm, directly from the demon realm, because that's where he was stationed.
Mm.
So he had to accept a lot of dark energy. And when it was too much, when he was forced to go through depression and cry out for the light, and it totally came.
Mhm. Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank
Speaking.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Am I speaking to Kevone's higher self or his oversoul?
The higher self, a fractal of the oversoul.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And do you have a name or a title you would like me to call you?
No name really. Just know that this is headquarters.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, brother. And I honor you. I thank you and respect you for all the aid you have given us today. I know that you hold all of the records of our brothers' different lives. May I ask you questions?
Yes.
Thank you, brother. And was there anything you wanted to clarify or anything else you wanted Kevone to understand about what he was witnessing? Did you want to clarify maybe his role? Did he actually work for the government at that time in 1939?
Yes. He was I wouldn't say it's more like it was almost like a spy, but not against, not a spy against the country or anything like that, but like Kevon was he was like working within like a secret uh like a spying section of this government, and he had privy there they have a lot of privileged information, secret knowledge and information about things that are happening that the public may not know about. So he worked in that capacity,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a secret service agent.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. Did you want to say anything else?
No, that was about it.
Okay. And so that day, was he more observing or reporting back, basically, some of the initial responses from the public? And was he able to sense them energetically as well?
Yeah. So yeah, like he was out and about, literally, um, it's funny, but just kind of like, so he was out getting lunch.
Okay.
And this is what he's noticing. This is what he noticed as he would leave, because it was such a activated time. There was so much going on. So it was he was literally just out and about. But a part of his mission is to gauge is to gauge the collective, is to gauge the reality. Certain So the government will put out certain policies, and then you'll have these people that will go out to kind of see how it's affecting the reality. He was one of those people. So a part of his ability is to read the energy of people, uh, to read the people. But it's just so happened he was just out and about that day, and all of this was going on, the protest and the super busy city center and everything.
So, as a function of the government at that time, they actually employed people to read or feel for the energetic response from the collective and how it affects their ability to create the reality.
Oh yes, the government has known about the metaphysical aspects of who we are for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
They have astral police.
Mm-hmm.
They have it's psychic remote viewers. Uh, they have, when it comes to the energy realm, they are not behind.
Mm-hmm.
They are very advanced when it comes to that, but it's very advanced, but not the people, and that's the problem. The people can sense the advancement of this part of their reality, and they can sense that a lot of things are just not being maybe shared or told to them.
Mm-hmm.
So the government can, when I say send out people, it's not even, it's not like you go to Alabama and you walk around Alabama, and you go to Tennessee, you walk around. No, you can do this. Some people, they can do this from their homes.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I say he was going out, it wasn't necessarily always physically flying out to a place or driving to a place or anything like that. It's literally using psychic energy to connect to the collective. And certain individuals were, or they have this ability, or have these abilities, or this awareness, to where they can tap into the collective from wherever they're at. Kevone is one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Even now.
Yes, definitely. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And was there anything else you wanted to say about this energy, dealing with the Social Security energy, or how we're, is part of this releasing ourselves energetically from this very important to our sovereignty and freedom as a being?
Yes. When you asked me for my name, I didn't give you one.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I'm free.
Yes. Yes. Definitely understand. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Not limited by a name. I've shared with people multiple times. People try to figure out things and they're wanting to understand names and labels and what, from the 3D perspective, certain
Mm-hmm.
beings, what's been said about them. And I've told them multiple times, you've existed before the earth even existed. So why limit yourself to what's said here on this planet or dimension?
Yes. Remember, this planet it's like a box. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally it's like a box. And it's the safest way to experiment with your soul is to put it in a box and let it play around like in a playground. And the box has 4 sides, so you are protected. No one can interfere in your box unless you allow them to. You, everyone on this planet has been allowing other people to play in their boxes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yes,
yes,
go ahead.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no. So when you gain back the when you gain back the isolation, even though it's not really isolation, it's a created isolation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you gain back the peace, this is what people call peace.
Mm-hmm.
They experience peace when they have removed everyone else out of their particular box.
Mm-hmm.
When you move other people's energy out of your frame, you experience peace. And from there, you will start your path into sovereignty.
Yes. And is there anything else we need to understand or clarify as far as how the Social Security is connected to our consciousness soul streams, or just simply, a lot of times people don't realize it's really just as simple as saying no. But is there anything you would like to clarify, or that some people may find beneficial to understand about how these numbers are created to our consciousness streams, or has it been explained enough, and we just need to make the simple decision that we no longer choose to participate.
So you can make the decision to no longer participate or participate. But so this is what it is. So the numbers, the main reason why the social security number has such a huge effect on you is because this reality is a lot of us know that this reality is a simulated construct. Whenever you create simulations, you need numbers, just like a computer. So what you guys are in is akin to a computer. The social security number, it allows for the computer to track you. When you're ready to release the tracking energy, you start to, I'm not going to say deleting your number, because you don't delete yourself, but you start to, your program, it starts to release, it starts to like loosen itself up from the computerized energy, and literally it creates what a lot of people are calling a virus. A virus is something inside of a computer that's not following the rules. Viruses are individuals without social security numbers. This is how the system looks at a being that's ready to exit, because you break off and you're like a free radical within the system, and that can cause other energies within the system to become free radicals, or AKA viruses. But virus in a positive sense, not in a negative sense, but the program itself sees it as a negative because it's losing numbers.
It's losing control.
It's losing control. So the importance of not having or releasing our energy towards the social security number is the same, is the importance of exiting the matrix or the hologram itself. So it's extremely important for us to release these tracking devices, this tracking energy. And it's not a computer chip. A lot of light workers are being, some of them, it's like a trick almost. You see, if I tell you that you have chips all in your body, then you're gonna spend a lot of time removing stuff or looking for something to remove. But if I was to tell you that your social security number is the number that's keeping you locked into the actual matrix itself, that will totally unlock you from the matrix. But finding computer chips in your head won't do anything. Whether it's an AI program, AI bugs, or whatever it is, that's not really the case. The issue here is releasing yourself from the system itself. So, like the movie The Matrix, when they would go to the phone booth, their entire essence would leave that reality. You see, they don't have social security numbers. So they're now looked at as free radicals or viruses. But we all know that they're awake.
Right. So in essence, even though some people may have physical implants, which we know some people do, that's not, you're basically saying that's not really the real issue. Like the real issue is participating in this program that we're exiting from.
Yes, and it's just that particular program. So I'll give you an example. Your reality is a simulation. There's been enough evidence to prove that this reality is a simulation, and the main big evidence, the biggest evidence of that is the Mandela effect. How things in the past can change when it was written in so-called stone. But because you guys are in a computer simulation, you got to understand that computer simulations can be reprogrammed. So we're all experiencing, humanity is experiencing a reprogramming. And there's realities outside of the computer simulation. But the computer simulation, in order for us to be as limited as we are, there are certain blocks, or I would say programs, that need to be implanted. AI implant. So we're in an artificial intelligence structure. Earth itself is an artificial intelligence structure. Just this version. Everyone here is experiencing life on the simulation, because if we were allowed to experience life on the actual Gaia, Gaia would have died a long time ago. So what Source Creation did, in its genius, was every planetary structure has a twofold nature. It has an artificial unit and it has a natural, real unit. Only natural, real, enlightened souls are allowed to live on actual planets. Humanity, aka the third and fourth dimension. So the third and fourth dimension, they are pretty much designated to host the third and fourth dimensions. They're hosting these artificial planets, these holographic planets. Everyone that exists on a holographic planet has an AI implant in them. The AI implant is only in people on holographic planets so that they experience less than what they truly are. So we have a series of, I would say, it's hard to explain it, but there are like these gateways, and you can block each gateway, but when you open up a gateway, you open up to more perception and awareness. These implants block the gateways so that we actually can gain this earthly experience. If you remove every single implant from your entire human system, then you will be a God type being, but you also won't be here. You will cease to exist in this holographic reality, and you'll move up into the higher frequencies. But you'll miss out on all of the lessons that you signed up for. So we all are like playing this game out to where over time we're going to be removing these implants piece by piece until we are back into our light bodies and able to live on the actual Gaia, which is called Nova Gaia, aka the new Earth. So the new Earth energy, what everyone is talking about, what you guys are and everyone is talking about, is literally humanity living on the actual Nova Earth Gaia, as opposed to the holographic one. Or the, I would say, densely holographic. There's levels even to the holographic realities before you are allowed to be released from them. So the holographic realities are what you will call a training ground for souls who are newly incarnated and or for souls who choose to have lower third and fourth dimensional experiences. The minute you rise up into the fifth dimension and beyond, you move into the realm of actual wholeness, and you start to go into the more real realities, which are actually more fantastic. So the realer things become in spirit, the more fantastic they are. The more you're able to manipulate the reality around you, the more realer the reality becomes.
Right.
The fact that you guys are walking around, driving cars and doing things like that, that's a huge sign that you're in a false reality. Spirit needs none of that to exist.
Right.
So the false realities are created for our entertainment, but also for our exploration and soul development.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. We're ready. I will go ahead and start with our brother's questions. He has some questions for you.
Okay.
Thank you. And can you confirm his origin, his first individualization from source as a unique consciousness stream? His first individualization, can you confirm his origin, please?
Kevone has traveled a lot. Cassiopeia within the Alpha Centauri constellation cluster. So his energy resonates highly to Alpha Centauri. Within the Alpha Centauri system, there's a planetary structure called Cassiopeia. And it's a beauty planet where individual enlightenment and advancement is expressed through their outer. So a supremely enlightened individual from this reality will be extremely beautiful. The way you are on the inside has a direct correlation to how the beings appear on the outside.
Beautiful.
Also, his Alpha Centauri nature is he's a protector. The Alpha Centauri group is universal protectors as far as advanced military. So his energy is a part of this advanced positive military force that brings aid to systems that need it. So it was that system is very important to him. And he spends a lot of time there. But he's
Yes.
also connected to the Arcturians
Mm-hmm.
and also Andromeda.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And real quick, is your phone battery charged? I didn't know if that's why the picture went off.
Mm, yes. It's 10% left.
Ooh, not good.
Hold on.
Okay.
I can get up
Higher self, brother.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And we were inquiring about the origin. And from my understanding, I know we incarnate many, many, many times, many places. Are you able to feel for the origin, his very, very first individualization as a unique stream of consciousness? Was he of angelic or starseed origin?
Mm. He's an angelic starseed.
Mm-hmm.
He was seated. He was seated on planets, on a particular planet, to eventually become an angel.
Mm-hmm.
So he's living a path of becoming an angel.
Mm-hmm.
But he, like like a lot of people, a lot of entities start off as a seed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, thank you. And was the first planet, was that Cassiopeia?
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful, thank you. And are you able to confirm, he was asking, what light ray or emanation is he representing this incarnation on Earth?
Blu-ray.
Blue ray. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And did his twin soul or twin flame incarnate with him this lifetime?
No, but has representatives.
Mm-hmm. And do you mean by maybe other fractals from her original energy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the reason why he dated the Michelle character 3 times. Because Michelle is a fractal of his flame.
Yes.
So he continues to meet these energies.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. And would Michelle also be considered a soulmate?
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful. And did you want to share anything further about his connection to Andromeda, as he, and actually many of us have a strong shared connection with Kevone? Is that through our Andromedan connections?
Oh, yes. Andromeda is where Andromeda for Kevone is like a Amazonian planet full of beautiful women. It's very feminine based. The Andromedan system, it's divine feminine based, and there are a lot of powerful women warriors there, and that's exactly who Kevone is attracted to. He's very attracted to the powerful feminine archetype. And the Andromeda women are warriors. They're like galactic warriors, and very, very strong characters, and very reliable when it comes to their energy. So it's and they're beautiful. So it's very, very attractive place for Kevone, coming from a place like Cassiopeia, where where everyone on the planet is, it's like a 8 on the scale of 1 to 10. They're like a 8 and beyond. So there's a lot of beauty. So beauty is something that Kevone really loves. He really loves because of his warrior militant nature. Beauty is very soothing to the soul for him. And because Andromeda has so many just smart, beautiful warrior type women, it's easily resonates with everyone pretty much from that place. So Andromeda is a very special place for Kevone and his energy. A lot of the dragon energy, a lot of his dragon friends are from Andromeda.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And are you able to clarify our connection? Because I almost felt like a brother energy from him.
Totally. You and Kevone are gatekeepers. Just like he said something about it during that retreat. You guys are on the same soul path. You guys are the same ray. You have the same. You have a lot of the same. You guys are totally coming from the same oversoul. There's no difference in that. So you are 100% correct when labeling him as this family type energy. But you guys are like almost like twins. You guys are not far apart. You guys are very close in energy, very close in mission. But one is more like Kevone is more lighter as far as playing around. You are more like you don't play. Like you don't play. And if both of you guys were like that, the reality would be just so tore up. So, but both of you guys are light, both of you guys are light, but one of you guys are a lot more serious on certain things. You guys are like twins. You guys are actually like twins. And so you guys play in between the dark and light thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevone can be super, I would say, like cutting the heads off of people
Mm-hmm.
and energies, like cutting, not transmuting them into light, like chopping them up and like tossing them in the burner. Now you have, not saying that you won't do that. Your energy will definitely do that if need be, but you can be a lot lighter in those instances with transmuting the energy. Kevone will be it'll be a lot rougher, but Kevone is also light, like very light, like he doesn't have a lot of negative entities or energies around him
Mm-hmm.
because of his lightness. So you're light, but then you have a certain darkness that attracts these negative energies so that they can be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, we'll be if we didn't have that dark and light aspects to ourselves, any and everybody will come through our gates. So both of us together, we have this ability to clear and cleanse people's energy fields before they make their way into the fifth dimension.
Mm-hmm.
We are total gatekeepers. Total.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to experience certain things, and we have to have a certain advanced awareness about ourselves that's beyond the normal awareness of a regular person, because they're the ones, the regular seeds are the ones that are still growing. We both are more of the angelic seeded nature.
Mm-hmm.
We are in like I say, because you're more so there. Like a big part of you is totally there. A part of me is totally there too, but I chose to just be another way, just
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more 3D, so that I can connect on certain levels with certain folks. But yeah, the connection between you and Kevone is a very strong. It's a very strong family connection, and it's pretty obvious when you say it out loud. It's Kevone and Siobhan.
Right.
It's like right there. But the reality had you guys separated. The reality had you guys separated so that you could reach the most amount of people, to clear the most amount of souls before they have a chance. Also, your last name is Hill. Kevone's sister last name is Hill in real life. But it's only Hill because they were Kevone's two sister and his brother were adopted
Mm-hmm.
by the Hills.
Mm-hmm.
So in his reality, he has a sister with the last name, quote unquote, Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a coincidence that both of you guys are 11 life paths. If you were to see Kevone's family members, you look like them. You don't look that different from his actual family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very obvious to him that you guys are related.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
And did he incarnate or choose to work with a soul group, such as an animal or bird tribe?
Bird tribe.
Beautiful, beautiful. And there are 37 bird tribes on the planet. Are you able to confirm which one?
Well, okay. So with Kevone, it's kind of tricky because his energy is blended with the crow and the
Mm.
hawk.
Mm.
But
Beautiful.
the crow transforms into the hawk.
Mm.
Crows are shapeshifters and they will transform into other species or other birds, but they mainly shapeshift into hawks.
Mm-hmm.
They have a connection with the crow and the hawk. But so he has a duality,
Mm-hmm.
very strong duality between the crow and the hawk. They both show up 100% in equal expression, meaning if Kevone sees a crow for the first 5 days of the week, the next
Mm-hmm.
5 days of the week, he'll see hawks.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I do know some of the crow and hawk tribe. Would you like me to introduce them or just let it play out naturally? What would you like to do?
It's funny because the crow tribe people always show up. They always
Mm-hmm.
they pop up. They always pop up. And I always have it's always a squinted eye a little bit because sideways look, because the crows can be tricksters.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I say we can just let it flow naturally.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. As a
But
matter of fact, oh, I was going to say, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, no, I was gonna say, but if you do know, if you feel like it's important that you connect with certain people, it's okay.
I had mentioned our sister Desiree right before we started. She's actually one of the Crow tribe members. So maybe it is meant to know who she is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. And she's also one of my like direct sisters too. So I would imagine she's one of your direct sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And let's see your next question. He's wanting to know if you can clarify, where does he go when he has outer body experiences, and can he make that reality a reality here in the physical?
Trayvon always asks that question.
Mm-hmm.
Where Kayvon goes on the astral plane, when he has his outer body experiences, is energetically home. The dimensionality of it, he's having a hard time with understanding the dimensionality of where he's going, because he can do things like shrink himself down to like a pin, like to go through a keyhole. He can expand himself into a giant. He can fly. He can create things out of thin air. He can make things appear. He can make people appear. So he's at a very high density, but it's kind of outside of dimensionality because there's no limitations for him.
Mm-hmm.
There's just growth in that reality for him. So it's home because he can really play out his energetic whims, and he can really express himself freely and fully. But even more so than that, he's actually going to a place that he's creating himself. He's creating an actual planet,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing it from the ground up. So from time to time, he will go there and experience certain changes and certain things being built. So, for example, he had a stadium that he would always see, and he would always fly by it and look at it. Sometimes he would go into it. But then as he started to learn more about pyramid energy and consolidating energy, things like that, that same stadium is now in the shape of a pyramid.
Mm.
He's had instances to where he left his body and went into this world via a portal that he creates, that he knows how to create. He does this consciously. And he goes through this portal, and when he reaches this world, he had an experience where he walked out of the door and he saw workers adding in the actual sky and atmosphere.
Mm.
So all along we've been sending him signals and little examples of information or times to get him to see that he's creating this world that he's going to. It's not a planet that he knows. It's not something someone else is creating. It's actually his creation.
Beautiful, beautiful. So in essence, is it his higher self is creating this world because he's multidimensional? And so when he goes to sleep or relaxes, he's able to return and see what he's doing? Is that
Yes.
another way? Okay.
Yes, he's able to return there to see the results.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes there to see the results and to make changes or to so for example, like, when he was there, he saw that the stadium was like the old school stadium, the way that they always make stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of his energy saw that and wanted to do something different. So he changed it from a stadium and turned it into a pyramid structure, which is still a stadium, except that now it's a stadium that's built like a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
So he's able to advance his world via his experiences in the 3D.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful.
And he can also invite others to this space.
Mm. Awesome. That's actually a great example of how what he's learning here is advancing his creation.
Mm-hmm. And it also plays the other way around. What I
Mm-hmm.
learned there, I bring here.
Mm-hmm.
What I learn here, I take back up there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And what can he do to keep a high equalized vibration?
Stop trying to do stuff. He no longer needs to do anything. Kevone has done so much energy work to where if he continues, he's just going to only stress his system out. He can now, he's in the mode now to where he can allow.
Mm.
He can allow the reality to show up however it shows up, and he'll be prepared.
Yes.
There's no more needing to do anything. His next doing is allowing, which is the ultimate doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it'll take him on the flow by him allowing things to just flow naturally. And he'll advance and stay in a very high vibration because he's not interfering with the higher plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm. demonstrating allowing also, is that part or connected to or directly correlated with demonstrating understanding, like how your energy flows and how creation comes about? Does that go together?
Well, somewhat. Allowing that I'm talking that I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
is literally allowing others, because Kevone is playing the role of the projector.
Oh, okay.
He's
Well, glad I
he's
asked
not.
for some clarification.
Yes, he's not here. The projectors are not here for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're here for the other. So projectors, they must learn allowing. They have to allow others to go through their processes. They have to allow the universe to go through its mechanisms unhindered, because he has so much information and energy. He can solve a lot of problems and can help a lot of people. But if he's going after them or intending into their energy field without them asking, then he can quicken people's system to the point to where their nerves and energy will fry out. He's already experienced this.
Mm.
And it was very bad, and he felt very guilty because he didn't slow himself down. He didn't allow the persons to slowly walk into the energy and information. He felt as if they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So he thought he was using his heart, when in actuality, he was just using his ego.
Mm.
The heart isn't peaches and cream. The heart will tell you to say no to somebody when they need it, when you think that they need it, because the heart knows that they don't really need it. Sometimes we need to go through super hard physical, mental, emotional experiences alone so that we can build up a strength that cannot be measured.
Mm.
There's a time and place for unity and help when it comes to our healing. But there's also a time and a place to where we have to tackle it and take it on ourselves, or else we won't ever leave the social security system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, it's a social security.
Right.
You need someone to socially secure you.
Mm-hmm.
Sticking together brings security socially. That's what it's all hinting at. But in reality, you don't need anyone else to give you or bring you healing, help, or security.
Right.
But the paradox to that is we totally need people to help us reach certain
But in
levels.
balance.
But
Right,
in
right. But in
balance.
balance, yes.
But in balance.
Yes. And it's
Yes.
out of balance when it gets to you depending on someone else to do it for you or to lead you or to guide you or to provide your guidance or information. That's out of balance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And the thing I've chosen to do or the information I've received is primarily just the assisting is really assisting them to get to their higher self.
Yes.
That's about all the assisting we need to do.
Dude, that's it. That's it. We are literally here to assist. So
Mm-hmm.
now you take that knowledge and you apply it to the gatekeepers,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see what you're doing. You'll see. You're assisting people to cross the bridge.
Mm.
And we assist them through our various skills and abilities.
Yes, yes. But we're not going to carry them through the bridge.
Nobody. Not a one.
You gotta walk yourself.
Yes, that's the only way. Now, can we carry people? Yeah. But will it help them? No.
Yeah.
It'll give them perception. It'll give them, they'll know, it'll help them on a level of, at least I know that this is true. But as far as them being able to sustain their energy in the fifth dimension and beyond, if they don't walk across that rainbow bridge alone, they won't be able to sustain their energy there, and they'll get booted out. And they'll wake up in their bed as if they woke up from a dream. His system cannot take heavy meat anymore. He has a very hard time digesting heavy meats because his system is transforming into a crystalline being. He's becoming more crystalline. So the more and more he becomes crystalline, the less and less red meat that his body is gonna want in its system. It's already not really even wanting to eat chicken that much. He's going more towards his vegetarian status that he was at before, but not as extreme as when he was vegan.
Yeah.
So light meat, if he's gonna continue to eat meat, because we're still processing heavy amounts of information here. The meat actually has way more to it than protein. So it helps as a grounding force for his energy to allow him to stay visible to his friends and family. If he was to continue on that path that he was taking when he was doing the vegan thing, he more than likely wouldn't even be here right now. His energy was that light, and it was that it was expanding so fast and so far to where he was outgrowing his body, and literally would have experienced a death.
Yes.
The people would have saw him as experiencing a death. Him himself, he wouldn't have died. He would have just ascended to the next level. But his mission isn't to die at the gates.
Right.
He has to be alive as a gatekeeper.
Yes.
And strong and hardy.
And very much here in this dimension.
In this dimension, yes. It's easy. It's very easy for Kevone to not be here mentally.
And can you clarify for him what level of dimensionality and density he is living at now?
Okay. His consciousness is teetering on the sixth dimension. And it's the reason why he's frustrated that his magic isn't working instantly like he would like it to be. But his consciousness is there and not his body. So his consciousness is close to the sixth dimension, but his body is still transitioning from the third density into the fourth density. So he's becoming a fourth density being, which is less carbon, more crystal. And from there, he's, him as well as the rest of humanity, they're going to be going into the fifth, sixth, seventh, and, the densities continue. And each, depending on, because his consciousness is already kind of at the sixth dimensional level, and that means, and what I mean sixth dimensional fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional, I'm not meaning just in thought, I'm meaning in actual action. Kevone has the ability to manipulate the physical reality around him that he's already had multiple examples. So this isn't something that's far from his consciousness at all. He knows about his ability to manipulate the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Those abilities only come from the higher dimensionality aspects. So he has the ability to literally, so for example, if a place needs to be cleaned up, he can go in and connect to the energy and literally send cleaners, and they will show up in the physical to clean it up.
Beautiful.
So he has that going on with himself, but also, but the body is going through it. The body isn't in complete alignment with that, and that causes his frustration. He wants his body to already be at that level, but if his body was at that level, you guys wouldn't see him.
Yes, I think that causes some of us frustration too.
Oh yes, and yes, he's definitely not the only one dealing with that.
Right.
So it's mainly a gatekeeper's dilemma, because being a gatekeeper, you have to have one foot in the ascended reality, and you have to have one foot in the ascending reality. This is what makes us gatekeepers, is the fact that we can go there so easily, but also we can come back here so easily. So we're the perfect bridge for people to understand how to live in both worlds until this ascending reality is ascended.
Right. Beautiful. And do we have time for maybe one more question?
Okay.
Let me see. Why is he drawn to the Toltec path and teachings of Don Juan Mateus? And should he follow that in the water path?
He's drawn to the Toltec path because he is and was a former Toltec. He's drawn to the teachings of Don Juan because it's in alignment with the mastery of his soul. So the Toltec path is the mastery of his soul and his form. And the last lifetime he lived, he thought he mastered it. But he didn't bring his body with him. The water path allows for him to not burn up his body in with Kundalini energy, but it allows for the flow of the divine waters to coat his vessel, to immortalize his spirit and his vessel, and allow him to walk into the higher realms with his body, dissolving the old body's experiences without having to dissolve the body.
Yes.
So the water path allows for that process.
Yes.
The Toltec path allows for the shifting of the form into animals, into light, into whatever. The Toltec path is the path of the earth. Earth has the power and ability to manipulate form. This is why Kevone has the ability to manipulate the outside reality, because of his Toltec lineage.
And is that why the teachings or the propaganda or what's focused on about the Toltec, South American, Native, Indigenous, and even Mayan cultures, they focus so much on the negative aspects or sacrifice? Is that why? Because they don't want people tapping into the true organic systems such as these?
You hit it. The propaganda is that they were sacrificing people all day, when in actuality, that's not what was happening.
Right.
The so-called sacrifices that people were talking about, they represent an energy called the Chakmuls. And the Chakmuls were children, or these people born with certain abilities to enter into the astral realm, pretty much like kind of at will. And these beings, they would incarnate here to shortly to kind of I would say to open up certain gates and to drop certain seeds into this reality. But also, they wasn't to them, they weren't looked at as sacrifice. They were actually looked at as ascending to a higher role. So some stuff definitely, I mean, it definitely had definitely had a lot of dark things, but a lot of that dark stuff came into play when the invading energy was coming in, the conquering energies. So when they came in, the Spaniards, when they came in, they saw snakes and said that it was evil, when snakes in the Mayan and Toltec culture actually symbolizes healing. So they took it as some kind of negative reptilian energy, when in actuality it wasn't. It was literally the Toltecs, the Mayans, South Americans, Native Americans, they use animals as totems. And we know this. And each animal has a specific healing ability. So when these conquerors came over, they were confused. They didn't know. So they said that these people were worshiping the devil. They were sacrificing each other. They were savages, when they had zero insight into what was actually going on. They were transcending the physical humanness and walking into realms beyond what we can even fathom.
Yes. I was even told of a group at that time or around those times that were called the Immortal Men, that they definitely don't share with us in history books.
Yes. And they are groups of them around the planet. The water path that I was speaking on earlier, that information, that knowledge, that connection comes from the immortal masters of the Kunlun Mountains. So the water path comes from them, the immortals in the Kunlun Mountains, in the area of, I believe, the Tibetan area. So, yes, the Toltec path, and oh my goodness, it's very deep. It's very deep, and like you say, they're not privy. They're not gonna let the main society know about this energy. You have to be initiated into this,
Mm.
because this energy, the Toltecs and the Mayans, they were earth people. The earth can shift your physicalness. So most people, they haven't put in a discipline to control their shifts. What I'm speaking on is something called the assemblage point.
Mm.
The Toltecs, and they were masters of manipulating and shifting their assemblage point. The assemblage point allows you to view your reality how it is. If your assemblage point would move 3 inches to the left, you would be viewing a totally different reality.
Mm. Interesting. It cut out again.
As opposed to you being in the room.
Yeah, your volume had cut out again.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It must be time. The energy is fading out.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We honor you and we thank you, dear brother. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything you want him to know today?
Just to continue to be love and to not feel bad when you have to let people go. Kevone feels guilt when he has to literally defriend people on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't be friends with the entire world because we're at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't be friends with the entire world, but we're eventually going to be friends with the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not ready to walk across the bridge just yet. They may just be approaching the gate. So sometimes Kevone may have to let people go so that they can continue their walk, and then they'll show up again when they make it.
Mm-hmm.
But his energy sometimes can hold people back while if he's paying too much attention to them,
Mm-hmm.
or if he's worried about them.
Mm-hmm.
He has the energy of the seed dropper. So if he drops his seed, and then he has to walk away from it in order to allow it to grow.